Shalom, all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Quadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopeful elect Archeum that are teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Quadash. Now, I've got this video on social media that I'm going to play, regarding mingled, mingled Israelites, shall I say. Not judging on the outward appearance. So this guy is actually a Jake. I'm going to play the video. His dad's a Jake. His mum's a so-called white woman. His dad's an Israelite. But he looks like a so-called white man. So he's actually, he actually is a straight up, one of the tribes, I'll just say Judah. He's a straight up Negro, but looks like a so-called white man. But his line, through his dad's line, goes back to Judah, or so-called black people, So he's a mingled Israelite. The confusion of face, man. But the carnal people will not get that. Carnal minds don't understand this knowledge, man. See? So we have to think with a spiritual man. But the carnality, people that are carnal won't understand that you've got Israelites that look like the other nations, for one. And also they won't accept, somebody that they call in this world a mixed race person, but that can show you that their dad's a so-called black man. But they might pass for a so-called white-looking man, but they still won't accept someone like that. Why? Because of his features, because of the way he looks. But then they'll accept someone that looks so-called black, but has like a straight-up Edomite father and a black mother. They'll accept someone like that. Why? Because they outwardly look like them. See? But it's all the Lord judgeth on the spirit, man. So let me play this here, because it's quite a spiritual video. Not that. What the fuck was that? Salakia, man.
Everyone wants me to prove my biracialness, right? Being biracial is so.
So I'm gonna play this here. If you look at this, I've paused it. If you look at the look at this man's features, I mean, the dude looks like a straight up so-called white man, And he'll get by in society, and Edomites will accept him. They won't give him no. The look you get when you look like a Jake and you go into their communities and stuff, man. You go where they're at. They let you know you're not welcome. Well, with someone like him, because he passes for them, you passes for that looks like a so-called white man. He won't get that. But look at who his fathers are, man. Look at the spirit of this. Let me play it anyway. So he's clearly an Israelite.
Interesting, because everyone wants me to prove my biracialness, right? Everyone asks me, let me see pictures of your dad, let me see pictures of your mom, but I don't have to prove anything to anybody. But I have pictures that I want to share, so we're going to walk through them. Let's start with my grandpa. This is my grandpa. He was a mechanic for the Tuskegee Airmen in World War II. Picture of Grandpa Gould. That's him with the flipped-up hat on the left. And a picture of him at dinner in Italy. Look how cute. This is so cool. Here's a picture of my grandma. She was one of the first African-American female police officers in the United States. Here's another picture of my grandma. That's my grandma. That's my dad. This is my Uncle Ricky, who's actually my dad's cousin, but, Uncle Ricky. And this is Uncle Ricky's mom. This is my great-grandpa Dawson. He was a priest at an Episcopal church, as you can see behind him. Here's a picture of my dad, 1964, sophomore. Look at him. Here's another picture of my dad. Absolutely the cutest little kid I've ever seen in my entire life. This is another picture of my dad, I think.
So this is his family. So this is why, which, you can see they're Israelites. So this is why, we got to go by the spirit, man. You can't turn away somebody because of the way they look. And that's why, these other camps that have this, the wrong doctrines and this false information. Hey, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to destroy you for teaching lies, man. See, you got to be spiritual and have the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to teach this knowledge, man. Because there's many a time that, you've seen it on videos, man. These other camps, people will approach them that look like someone like this man, and they'll get called the devil. They'll get cursed out without any kind of spiritual background check,
Maybe this was when he graduated college. I'm not sure. This is my grandma, Uncle Ricky, dad, and my Uncle Ricky's mom. Now here's a picture of me as a kid with my mom and my dad. Look at
so that.
Stop.
So that's Salakia.
Another picture of me and my dad.
Let me rewind that a bit.
This is my grandma, Uncle Ricky, dad, and my Uncle Ricky's mom. Now here's a picture
so
of
that's him. That's his mother. You can clearly see she's a so-called white-looking woman. See? which is obviously why the way he looks, how he looks. So that's the spirit, man. You know, the scriptures talk about, you know, Jake getting with the women of the other nations, man. And what were we creating? We were creating children that were our line, but would look like the nations they were mingled amongst. It's clear, it's plain as day. But like I said, it goes back to the spirit of Yahweh Shai, which I want to read some scriptures on that. I just want to play this video.
Me as a kid with my mom and my dad. Look at, stop. Here's another picture of me and my dad at the beach. You can tell I'm having a terrible time. And another picture of me, my mom, and my dad.
There you go, another picture. You can clearly see the mother looks like a straight up so-called white lady, man. All right.
Oh my god, I used to call myself the ring bearder or something like that. And here's a picture of me and my parents on vacation in Colorado. But I just want to say I'm happy to be able to share my family and my lineage with you because it's not something I've ever really delved into. My dad always told me that I stand on the shoulder of giants, and I just, like, as I'm going through this and seeing pictures and talking about my grandparents who I'd never met, and just because they passed away before me, and knowing that I'm related to them and related to such amazing Black history while also being extremely white presenting, brings up a lot of, you know, just dissonance within me because I want to begin to explore that, and I'm finally happy that at 32 years old I am able to explore that. I'm able to explore it in a public place, which feels really vulnerable, but I am honored.
So this is
to have the opportunity.
So this is what it is. The man's a Jake, man, and he's showing you his family. And you know, you have carnal-minded people who turn him away, man, because of the way he looks, which is completely ridiculous, man, because he's showing you what it is. But then they will accept somebody that looks dark-skinned, but their dads are straight up crackers, you know. So but they'll accept people like that. Why? Because you're gonna find out, man. Most of these, you know, Israelite camps and I'm gonna say it like this anyway, outside of the Great Millstone, most of them are not spiritual, man. And the spirit of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, is not upon them, man. You have to have a spiritual eye, man. You have to look beyond the physical, man, in this world, man, with everything that we deal with. Anyway, that's another thing.
So, I love you.
I'm gonna play this here. I'm gonna read this here. So this is Psalms 106 and 35. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. But what does that mean? But were mingled among the heathen. That's talking about the Israelites, man. So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American men. Yeah, our descendants, the men of our nation, were mingling themselves among the heathen and learned their works. All right? And the women too, but this is mainly about the men. And what we were doing, we were mingling amongst all the other nations and learning their ways of life. All right? So we're getting with the East Indian women and you know, serving their Hindu gods, let's say, straying away from our customs and having children with them. And the children that are born are learning the customs of the women that are the mothers. See? Same thing with Esau, same thing with the so-called white man. We were getting with their women, bringing forth our sons and daughters, but they're being taught the way of the so-called the Greek lifestyle, let's say. And that Jake there, that man in the video there, he's an example of that, man. A clear example of a white passing Jake, but his dad's a so-called black man, you know? So even he said it, I'm beginning to explore this side of my family even more because, you know, probably was raised more amongst the white side of his family. The society will accept him more because of the way he looks, you know? So he probably hasn't had to deal with certain things that, you know, a dark-skinned Negro has to deal with. But nonetheless, you know, he's still a Jake. He's still, you know, going to have the curses on him. So you have to think in the spirit. So Psalms 106 and 35, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. And that ultimately became a snare unto us when we got amongst the nations. See, because how the law doesn't say you can't get with the women of the other nations. But what the problem is when you start serving their gods, then after generation and generation, you just completely forget your way, which is what's happened to our people. That's the issue, not laying and having children with the other nations' women. That ain't the problem, because there's no such thing as mix. You are what your father is. So that man in that video, you know, he looks like a so-called white man, but he's a so-called Negro. He is what his father is. Whatever tribe his father is, that's what he is. But this is prophecy, man. We were mingled among the heathen and we learned their works. This is Corinthians. I'm going to read this here. It's 1 Corinthians. Bear with me. 1 Corinthians 2. 1 Corinthians 2 and 14. It says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Lord, for they are foolishness unto him. Yeah, the natural man is what? The carnal-minded man. They can't receive this truth because it's foolishness unto them. When we say that there's people that look like that man there, but they're Israelites, oh, how could he be? How could he be? Because he doesn't have the features of a so-called Negro. He doesn't have the broader nose or the thicker lips or the coarse afro or whatever maybe. The typical features, right? If he don't look like that, how can he be an Israelite? Well, you know why you can't get it? Because it says it here, but the natural man, you're natural men. Most people in this world, you come to find out, are natural men, man. Receiveth not the things of the Spirit. Most people in this world, most so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American people in this society, they're not going to receive the things of the Spirit because they're natural men, man. Right? For they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. Yet the Spirit is not working with them. That's why they can't get it. They can't get it because the Spirit, it says it here, they are spiritually discerned. They can't understand it because the Spirit of Yahushua is not upon them, man. All right? But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. And he that is spiritual judgeth all things is who? The Israelite man in his right mind. The brothers of the great millstone, the Spirit's upon, who the Spirit is upon, Spirit of Yahushua. We can judge all things, man. That's why we can go out and teach. And, we go in the Spirit. And, if someone is from another nation, we'll ask them questions. We'll ask them questions who their father is. Can they vibe with what we're saying? These are clear indicators this person may be an Israelite, even if they look like the other nations. See? But carnal people cannot understand that reality. Why? They can't understand it because the Lord ain't working with them. That's just the plain of it. You see? It says, for who have known the mind of the Lord that he may instruct him, but we have the mind of Yahushua. Yeah, we have the mind of Yahushua. So the wacky tacky Christians, they talk about they love the Lord chose them. No, they chose the Lord, shall I say. I love the Lord. I came to the Lord, exactly, the words that they use. I came to the Lord, I changed my ways, all that bullshit. Listen, man, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua chooses you. You don't choose him. You don't choose the Lord. He chooses you, man. The true Lord, anyway. But you see, the Lord the Lord they're talking about is the so-called white man, by the way. They're talking about the God of this world. See? But we're talking about Yahushua. And the information Yahushua is giving us, which is this word, is a spiritual information, man. Through his men, through his teachers, feeding the flock, we get in the spiritual information. That's why we can discern these things. All right? So let me read this here. And it says it here. This is 1 Samuel. Where is it here? 1 Samuel 16 and 17. 14. Salakia. 16 and 7. Well, I'll read it from here. 1 Samuel 16 and 6. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. Yeah, this is the history of Samuel going to anoint King David, basically to find the new king. And he went amongst David and his brothers, right? And something spiritual happened where basically David was not the mightiest of his brothers, not the most seasoned, not the war veteran of his brothers, right? But the Lord chose him. So it says here, and it came to pass when he chose him to be king, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Exactly. All right. So this is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai told Samuel. He said, look, because that's what, as a man, you look at, like, you can look at someone mighty looking and you look at them all in awe, right? But then the Lord raises up someone half their size to defeat them. It's happened many times, David and Goliath, etc. Right? It happens. And that's how Yahweh Bashem Yahushai deals, man. He looks on the inside of someone, not the outer appearance. Okay? So it said it here, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height. Yeah, don't look at his face. Don't look at how tall he is, how muscly he is. Right? Look not on his countenance nor on his height or the height of his stature, because I have refused him. That's the key thing there. I have refused him. The Lord didn't choose him, basically. It's all about the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. And that's how we know, man, if someone can't get this knowledge, we can break it down simply to them, that you got Israelites that look like the other nations, show them proof, which we have over the years. What's that basketball player, man? The one with the Haitian father, the white mother, and the kids look blonde and all that. His children now look. He got Blake Griffin. Remember, they even had that Blake Griffin Roman advert back in the days as well, man. We've done videos on all of that, and you still had Jake scoffing at that. Why? Because the spirit. It's all about the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's not on them. The spirit ain't dealing with them, man. That's what it is. So it says, so that's the key thing. It says, because I have refused him, the Lord refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Lord looks on the inside, man, not the outward. And that's the spirit we got to take on. We got to look more spiritual than looking at the physical with all things. So, with that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Shalom, shalom.